just how you planned it. Life could put you in a pickle, just make sure it's kosher. Lean on me like Bill Withers until you smell the roses.
What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscribe or die trying. You see the thumbnail, man. Deadbeat versus Unbothered, right? Deadbeat or Unbothered is the question. So I did a live about my little custody situation, and then I see a clip of Joe Budden podcast, and I'm like, man, deadbeat dads are so unbothered on social media. They just living their life like they good. And I thought about it. I saw something else when the guy was like, look, man, there's nothing else I could do, bro. I done done enough. You know, and I think people, and I talked about this in my live, I think people put both of them together. Like a deadbeat dad and a guy that just becomes unbothered, and not a dad that becomes unbothered and not the same guy. You say a deadbeat dad is a guy who, you know, didn't want to contact his kid, didn't want to talk, didn't want to call, FaceTime, that type of stuff. And then, but you'll lump him in with a guy who becomes unbothered because he does call, he does FaceTime. But how long is he supposed to call and FaceTime with either no answer or getting hung up on, or, you know what I'm saying, or getting blocked? Like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, because a lot of y'all are delusional and y'all disingenuous about, you know, that part. And it's like, you know, when you keep doing it to somebody, at some point they like, okay, I get the message. Can't talk. You're not talking, or you don't want to talk. Blah blah blah. And I'll say for the most part, a lot of guys who become unbothered, their kids probably get in a teenage stage before they just say, okay, fine. You know, when they're old enough to actually do some things on their own. But how long is, when that happens, is a guy unbothered or is he a deadbeat, right? It's like, no, he's just unbothered. Like, they'll say, you know, he's a deadbeat because he doesn't come see the kid or take the kid anywhere, do anything with the kid, you know, and doesn't want to. And it's like, oh, okay, I get it. And if a guy's unbothered, he tries to take the kid, he tries to pick the kid up, he tries to do things with the kid, he tries to, you know, and what I mean try is, you know, come to the house, drive to the front door, you know, and it's always an issue. He's setting up times to meet and do this, that, and the third, and it's always an issue. You know, it's a problem. You know, the police can get called for, you know, whatever. Oh, I feel afraid. You know, I think it's an abuse. Can I get a restraining order? Like that situation. After how many years? 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years of that. You know, and the reason why I say 20, even though, you know, child support normally stops at 18, but some people have went past that still reaching out. You get what I'm saying? Kids have been adults or young adults and they were still reaching out. And at some point it's like, okay, I'm done. Forget it. I've exhausted everything I could. Fine. But they got the message. Like, you don't want to do anything. When you know, your mom and her side of the family don't want us to do anything, and then you don't want to do anything, and it's like, okay, we're not doing nothing. Okay, fine. I'm moving on. You know, that's becoming unbothered. Like, you don't want to do anything. You know, if you live in a different city or state, you know, if like, man, this person's dad lives in this state, they live in that state, they never sent a plane ticket, a bus ticket, or tried to pick them up from, you know, fly there to pick them up. None of that ever happened, right? They don't care, right? That's a deadbeat, right? And then you got the guys who bought the plane tickets, who flew to pick them up themselves and rented a car, who drove, who did this, and still, you know, kid don't, right there, bought plane tickets and they didn't, and somehow the kid don't make the flight, or they change the flight date, or the kid's like, I don't want to be with them. They had this breakdown. You know, we've been there if you've had kids. You know, I don't want to be around, no. You know, so after a while, if dad stops buying tickets, or they say, I ain't coming, at a certain age, it's like, okay, stop buying tickets, fine, you ain't coming, whatever. And then it's like, they moved on and they're living their life. It's like, they're a deadbeat. No, they're just unbothered. Like they've done that already. They went down that road. You know, what more could they do? You know, how much more you want to put them through? So they go, I'm good with that. You know, some of y'all consider people deadbeat. They don't do nothing for my birthdays or Christmas or special occasions or, you know, holidays, nothing. And he's a deadbeat. He doesn't do anything for you on any of those days. And then you got guys, you know, who are unbothered. Like, you know, your kid only talks to you around their birthday or around Christmas or around a special occasion so they can get something. And then when they get something, they don't talk to you no more. So how many, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years go by, and you're like, all right, man, all right, yeah, I get it. You want something. But I just not, no, thank you. And then it becomes, you're a deadbeat. It's like, no, just unbothered. You know what I'm saying? It's just unbothered. You know, you got guys who consider deadbeats because they moved on and they got with somebody or got somebody else or blah, blah, blah. You know, and then you got guys who become unbothered because, you know, mom gets somebody else. That baby don't need a daddy now. I got somebody. They break up, baby need a daddy again. You know, if they get with somebody else, baby don't need a daddy again, you know. And after a while, it's like, okay, you know what, and then they move on. And it's like, they unbothered. And the issue becomes, most people don't say, okay, when is it gonna stop? Like, when is the BS gonna stop? Nobody cares, because if mom does it and kid does the BS, it's supposed to be, you know, to infinity and beyond. It's like, there's not one thing you can, one day, you should never just go, okay, I'm done. Like I've seen kids who, dad's a deadbeat. He's a jerk, blah, blah, blah. He's evil, blah, blah, blah. So F him. And I've seen kids who scheme and plot on their parents, you know, on their father. They do. I've seen people lie on the fathers. You know, he touched me, or he beat me, or you know, he tried to do this, that, and the third. They lied on him, right? And then it's like, but they're not in my life, and then somehow you forget that that's what you did, right? And they're like, no, you said I did this, that, and the third. I had to, you know, blah, blah, blah. You lied. You manipulated the situation because you wanted to do whatever you wanted to do or whatever. And so those guys become unbothered because am I going to go to jail behind you lying? Or I'm going to risk going to jail behind you lying and, you know, and go to jail and then go, oh, my man, I lied. He loves me so much he was willing to go to jail for me because I lied on him. Like some guys like, nah, I'm not doing that. There have been stories where kids have lied on their fathers, got them locked up, and then wanted to retract it and it was too late. You know? So, like, are guys deadbeats or unbothered? And it's like, a lot of times, I think more so now, the stereotype used to be guys with deadbeats. But more so now, I think a lot of guys are just unbothered. They're like, hey man, look, I didn't went through the ringer with all this stuff. And I'm just, hey, done. You know? And then you see some of these guys, quote unquote, happy online. How could you be happy? Why should he be, like, what is he supposed to be? You know, at what point are people going to say, maybe you need to stop doing that? In a sense of, maybe the mothers need to stop playing the games and the kids need to stop playing the games. And if they, it's like, okay, what if people accepted that this is not going to work? You know, this is a hustle. So, fine, I'm going to just, you know, exit stage left. You know, I've tried all the reach out tactics and this, that, and the third. There's nothing else to do. Like, let's see if the other side actually wants a relationship. Because they fought so hard not to have it, then they don't have it. Like a deadbeat never fought for a relationship. They walked off from it. An unbothered guy probably fought for a relationship and didn't get it. And it's like, okay, I got the message. You don't want it. Cool, I'm out. I'm going to do my thing. And then people are mad when that person becomes peaceful or happy. It doesn't make sense. But that's as they would say, that's the long and short of it. But tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch you on the next one. Peace.